Hey everybody, Xeno back here for another series. This time, pretty predictably, we're going to be playing Mega Man 4 for the Game Boy, otherwise known as Mega Man World 4. In continuing my little Mega Man Game Boy series, we might as well just keep going with them. I could be more original, but I figured all 5 of them are in a row. Why disrupt the chain? So this game gives us a little more to chew on, actually. We actually get this intro, which is cool, showing what actually happens. Wily collects his 4 robot masters from Mega Man 4, and now they're messing shit up again, so we gotta stop them. Definitely appreciate having some level of introduction and actual coherence to the plot that is going on. So, yeah, we gotta save the city. Look, they're blowing everything up. That's no good. This game is another step up in terms of quality for the Mega Man Game Boy series. I've talked a little bit here and there about how they get better over time, and I would say the same applies to this title compared to Mega Man 3 Game Boy. Presentation actually gets a huge upgrade. This game has a lot of really cool cutscenes that I'll be sure to highlight as it goes along. This intro one, of course, being one of them. Look at all this. See, we even get introduced to the Mega Man killer, on the title screen. That's belayed right there, and we'll be seeing more of him later, but it's a huge step up in terms of just what we get for story and understanding of the plot, so that's a huge up. The gameplay this time around is also improved, definitely better than 3 in the relevant ways, but let me stop rambling and let's just get started right away. So not only do we get an intro cutscene, but we actually get this little opening dialogue. Dr. Light actually tells us something. Dr. Wily has sent his most powerful robots across the world. I mean, that looked like a city to me, but yeah, I'll buy it. I've invented a new machine to make power items for you. We need to use special energy items called P-chips, collect the P-chips, and bring them back. So this game actually has a shop, and this game did it before Mega Man 7, which is pretty neat, to be honest. So Mega Man 4 Game Boy has its own accolade. I'll be exploring more of the shop later, but it's just cool that this game has a external currency system of some sort. Again, like the bolts in Mega Man 7, 9, 10, and 8. Yeah, I don't know why I forgot. So, per the usual, we get our choice of 4 Robot Masters from the game that it's titled after. So we get the other 4 robots from Mega Man 4 to choose from. And we even get these little scenery pictures, which I think is cool. I also like this rotating stage select. I like the shrunken down, crushed Robot Master sprites as they turn. Brightman looks kind of silly, Toadman too. But either way, we do get our pick. A nice presentation on this menu here. Let's jump straight in. I have yammered enough for this opening segment. So, physics, mostly the same as Mega Man 3 Game Boy. They feel a little tighter, which I do appreciate. Sliding, jumping feels a little snappier. So that's a good improvement right there. One interesting thing which is completely exclusive to this game, as far as I remember, is that, well, actually this screen isn't really a good screen to show it on, but we get the charge shot in this game. And when Mega Man fires it, he actually gets knocked back. You'll see if I try and... Or did I disable it? Okay, no. Yeah, look, no rain here. You get blasted back a very short but not irrelevant distance when you fire your charge shot, which is honestly pretty cool. It can definitely mess you up if you're not prepared for it, but just have some awareness of that and you'll be fine. Toadman stage here. We got water. This is all to be expected. I don't know how I feel about this color palette. It looks a little drab compared to the greens and oranges that the NES version had. This is a little glummer than I think maybe it needs to be. But I mean, we have all our Toadman stage staples, these slime things, Radins. You'll see me pick up these P-chips, which are the things that Dr. Light mentioned. They're currency for this game, so grab them when you can. pretty satisfying. Also, that spike trap on the previous screen is a little mean, but I'll excuse that, I suppose. Ah, nice. I forget if we start with Rush Coil. Okay, no we don't. Gotta collect that thing again. So yeah, Toad Man stage is Toad Man stage. This is definitely going to be your strongest starting point of the available stages. Also, that bomb, that first bomb did not go anywhere close to me. That's interesting. Oh, messed up. There we go. Nothing too difficult to handle here. Toad Man stage is clearly the intended starting point by the devs because we get these letters. This one is super easy to grab. Like, don't need any utilities or anything here. If you navigate to the second page on the menu, you'll see that the letters are collecting on the right side, kind of Mega Man 5-esque. So, I suppose I won't spoil yet what the letters do. They are relevant to the game. I do have a slight gripe with the way the second set are handled, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. But as for the letters in these first 4 stages, I conceptually very much like the idea. Let's not die here. I find this screen to be a little dumb. You have to wait for the Rattan to jump right and back left to move. Not a very interesting challenge, just kind of, if you don't wait, you get screwed over. It kind of looks like you can pass by it too, which is probably the reason why I feel like it's not a very wise design decision. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering which of these tiles were fake. You can kind of see the E-Tank through the wall. I mean, the colorized version makes it easier, but, you know, again, I'm not sure how I feel about that as a secret, quote-unquote. But it's interesting that it's there. Also, this spike trap is kind of mean. Not sure if I am on board with that. See, usually I don't like design decisions like this either, but the fact that the previous screen has an alcove on the right that's empty kind of clues you into maybe hugging the right wall. So I actually think that's not the worst thing in the world. You're still pretty likely to miss it if you don't have the same amount of game design or familiarity sense as I do. Oh, whoa. Okay, I forgot that falls underneath. And, well, that's Toad Man stage. Pretty good showing. Unfortunately, Toad Man himself isn't much to really write home about. I didn't shoot fast enough, but he's just like the NES version. A slightly different remix of the Mega Man 4 boss theme here, which is interesting. And that's a wrap for Toad Man. This game has a few unique jingles. I like the level clear jingle that just played. It's pretty catchy. And we get a pretty cool weapon get screen instead of just static image, albeit a cool static image. We even get a weapon demo, which is a first for the series as well, I think. Rain Flush. This works the same as it does in the NES version. Rush Coil 2. Definitely contributes to the whole starter vibe that this stage has. They must have known that Toad Man was the one worth starting with. Let's continue in weakness order and take on Bright Man next. Yeah, see, this, you want Rush Coil immediately for this pickup here, so definitely worth having. Let's avoid turning the lights off. I kind of find the little bit crushed bulb sprite to be funny. I knew there was a cheap shot somewhere here. So yeah, you're probably not gonna see this before you jump over, and then by the time you do, you're probably dead. So again, not sure, I don't really like that. Here's another interesting thing that this game introduces is these mini E-Tanks. So you can navigate to the second menu page and see that now I have what looks like a quarter of an E-Tank in my inventory, and that's exactly how they work. So you collect 4 of those, you get an E-Tank. I think it's a cool concept. I think it's a good way of having a collectible with some value that isn't just a whole entire E-Tank if you don't want to award one necessarily. Brightman stage here has some interesting and new gimmicks that did not exist in the NES stage, like these light platforms. I think this is pretty cool, and then I like how they fly away after the fact. That's neat. Unfortunately, I think I might have just screwed myself over. I guess I'll wait for the lights to turn back on, but wait, or can I turn this on this way? Oh, nice, okay. I wasn't sure if that turned the lights back on or not. That's neat. So yeah, some new gimmicks showing up in this stage. Some other stages in this game have gimmicks that were not present in their original, but I would say this one is maybe the most drastically changed because we don't have the swinging platforms, I don't think, which were really the staple of Brightman's stage in the NES version. Instead, we get this kind of weird hover kind of object. I believe this thing is called the Guts Hover. It does resemble Guts Man. And there are other hover objects in this game, so this isn't out of place or anything, but definitely an interesting gimmick swap. No swinging platforms, you just get these kind of weird hover guys and these illuminescent platforms. Here's another platform section. I do think these sections are good. Definitely don't have any complaints. I just think the swap out is interesting. I suppose it gives it its own unique flavor. Like, it is definitively a different stage than NES Brightman, so keeps it fresh. I'm just now realizing as I'm navigating this stage that I forgot the HP intervals for Brightman on Game Boy. I think I'm gonna try to see if the whole... Okay. Awesome. Suppose I should have watched my step. Anyways, I was wrong. We do have swinging platforms, and again, you really gotta watch your step to not get blindsided by a few of the obstacles here. Actually, it looks like the game pretty much forces you to turn the lights off, which is kind of dumb. Okay, I didn't actually think I was gonna make that, but looks like we did. Yeah, I would argue this section is probably harder than the original version. Or, actually, that's not true. I'm probably just less used to the timing. Not like I play this game as often as I do NES Mega Man 4, so that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I was expecting another bold enemy to pop up. Oh, okay, and we get another hover segment. Let's see how this one goes. Oh, okay, actually there's not much to that. And, well, that's Brightman stage. You do get some of the identity retained from the NES version, from the swinging platforms, but it's definitely a different beast. Okay, actually, can Brightman just use his flash stopper whenever? He might just literally be able to do it whenever he likes. Which, you know, doesn't bode well for you as the player. So yeah, if I remember correctly, he can just do his flash stopper whenever, but there is a more defined way to avoid it, if I remember correctly. Not that it matters, of course. His shot pattern is the same as in the NES version. He can shoot up, down, and straight forward, and we'll do so with a bunch of different patterns that he can choose from. And for our trouble, we get Flash Stopper, which is as good as ever. Definitely a useful utility to have. Let's check out the shop real quick. I just want to show off how this works. Oh, or not. You can press select at any time on the stage select to access this shop. Looks like you have to press right to initiate the shop sequence. So, yeah, we got the usual, we got E-tanks, we got W-tanks. This might be the first instance of W-tanks as well, which refill your weapons. I forget if it's all weapons in this game or if it's just one. Fully recharge one of your weapons. Okay, yeah. Oh, no, we don't want that. The text that scrolls whenever you select an item is, like, a little needlessly long. It's kind of annoying. You'll probably, like, mash A to try and get through it and then accidentally buy something you don't want to sometimes. That's not a huge problem, though. so you can get just about anything you need. Lives are not terribly useful because it's not much of a punishment for continuing, so unless you're really struggling with one particular stage. This is a full weapon refill, which only becomes relevant later in the game because the game stops filling your weapons after a certain stage. The S tank, which is functionally equivalent to the M tank, and then this is the energy balancer, I believe. Yeah, unfortunately we don't have enough P-chips for that, and that's basically the shop. Yeah, we're done here. So yeah, cool system. Definitely cool that they managed to put something like this on in a Game Boy game well before, or at least somewhat before, the console games managed to do the same. I don't think Mega Man 7 was released terribly later after this, but this game did it first, if I remember correctly. So definitely props there. That's cool. If I remember correctly, there's... Okay. No, I was wrong. I was under the impression that there was an energy tank somewhere here. I thought it might have been there, but I think that was maybe just bolts or something. So I kind of ended up screwing myself over. Let me see, is there anything under here? Okay, yeah, maybe that was it. Yeah. Yep, there's an energy tank under that ledge, so I'm not misremembering. Either way, Pharaoh Man stage, this opening is essentially the same as the NES version. Except, yeah, I was about to say no hey-heys, but then one of them showed up. There isn't anything to the right in this version, unlike the original, so no balloon to collect here. Would have been cool in this game, I suppose, but, no. Then we actually have an underground section with the quicksand, which does not happen in the NES version, so that's pretty cool. Some slight differences here. The music in this stage is a little slower than the NES version. It trips me up slightly, because it sounds, the tempo is a little odd, but it doesn't sound bad by any means. Just different. Quite a few items to pick up in this stage, which is well appreciated. Although I think at this point, the thing I would be most favorable about is getting an extra life. I don't know why I jumped into that. Looks like these ladybug things have less HP than in the NES version. Either that or the half-charge shot actually does more damage. But I don't think that's the case. Can I respawn a ladybug? Ah, never mind. I'm sure I'll find one later. So we got a new gimmick here as well. These rock platforms, which just kind of exist and fall slowly one by one tile. Not particularly remarkable. Okay. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like the half-charge shot does any more damage, so I think the ladybug enemies just have less HP than in the NES version, which is interesting. Yeah, it looks like they only have 1 HP. I'm honestly completely for that change, given how annoying they are. You won't find me complaining. Yeah, they just... Okay. Yeah, it's confirmed. They only have 1 HP. What's the intended method of getting that? Is it just... Okay. Yeah, I figured that was it. Not a difficult letter grab. You just gotta know what to do. The way these rock platforms rock the camera back and forth is a little visually annoying, I'm not gonna lie, but again, not a big deal. That is a trap if I've ever seen one. Yup. There's even a unique game over theme, which is pretty cool. Anyways, moving right along with this part. Definitely should not have gone for that in the first place, but, you know, you live and you learn. This, ROM's instability definitely gets to me sometimes. This, later part of the narration was recorded later, but this whole thing crashed on me, so I had to get back here. Either way, that's right at the end of Pharaoh Man stage, so, you know, pretty unfortunate place to have an issue. Not a whole lot to say about Pharaoh Man here. Still weak to Flash Stopper, which works the exact same way as in the NES version. You can just pretty much freeze him forever. It seems to be even more efficient than in 4 NES. And yeah, that's it. Pharaoh Man's toast. Another unpleasant sound. But that's, you know, that's fine. Pharaoh shot is the same as ever. Definitely one of the more useful weapons in this set, just like in 4 NES. Then we'll move swiftly along to Ringman stage. Slightly different aesthetic for show this time. It feels like this more kind of space station environment as opposed to whatever it was in 4. This just kind of rainbow looking indescribable kind of area. Oh, it looks like the coil and rainbow platforms are still graphically represented the same, but the this feels like it should be more colorful than it actually is, but that's fine, I suppose. Let's try not to get trapped under there. Some somewhat dangerous obstacles. The stage uses these in good setups overall, I would say here. Sometimes I have a hard time remembering which direction is which graphic, but you're never in a situation where you're going to be completely screwed if you forget for a nanosecond, so that's nice. Well, like there. Oh well. Try that again. There we go. Sweet. Okay, I thought there might be spikes at the end of that, but pretty easy energy grab there. Does this not kill these enemies in this version? I noticed that Rain Flush is strangely very cheap in this game, which is a little odd. It must have nerfed power, since I feel like it's not particularly powerful compared to the NES version. Yeah, it was really good at dealing with these rotors, but in this version it's not doing a whole lot. Okay, there we go. Get the letter for our troubles. Another pretty easy grab. If Ringman weren't so difficult as a boss, I'd say that this might be another decent starting point. But honestly, Ringman's probably one of the tougher bosses to beat in Mega Man 4, especially if you're not that good at the pattern. He can definitely mess your shit up. I forget how aggressive he is in this version compared to the NES version, but I guess we're about to see. These Whoppers look pretty funny compared to their NES counterparts. You only get 3 rings instead of 6. And, well, you can slide right past them. Smooth. Yeah, there's another one on this screen. Let's see if we can not get hit. Okay, nice. Was able to avoid it. Pretty simple. I do like the setups with the platforms in this stage. I also thought I jumped there, but I guess not. Try not and screw that up again. This is definitely one of the stages where the recoil becomes more problematic. You can really easily knock yourself off of everything here. Kind of a pain in the ass. But not unmanageable by any means. Getting hit by pretty much everything. But still, you can kind of get along. The stage feels oddly long now that I'm playing it. We don't get the Hippo mini-boss in this version, I don't think. Oh, nice. And that comes to attack you from across the ladder. Okay, well, Ringman's definitely going to kill me immediately, but his pattern isn't much different than the NES version, if I remember correctly. Oh, never mind, it is. Okay, wait. So he walked across first. Wait, actually, okay, wait. I'll definitely try and boss up on him, but let's see. How does he work? Does he walk across first? Okay, yeah, interesting. He walks across first, and then he should do that. Okay, wait, so he's entirely different. Okay, wait. Ring down, and then another ring down. That's interesting. Yeah, this is kind of different, actually. Interesting. And I'm dead. Okay, wait, let's try and get a feel for that, because that is definitely different. Okay, run across. Yeah, and then another one. Yeah, okay, wait, he tries and aims both rings at you. That's interesting. That is very different. Oh, he's dead. Well, we will be seeing refights in this game, so we can discuss that at further length later. But that's interesting. Yeah, that is different, because usually in the NES version, he throws the second ring straight forward in the air. Doesn't try and aim it at you at all. So yeah, that is different. Interesting. Got Ring Boomerang. That's good stuff. Oh, do we also get something else? Oh, the beat letters. Well, I said I wouldn't spoil it at the beginning of the video, but yeah, so we got beat. Just like in Mega Man 5, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, he's not particularly useful in this game. I actually can't think of any scenarios where it's actually beneficial to use beat now that I think about it, unfortunately. Let's see, can we buy the energy balancer yet? I think we can. 180, right? 150. Yeah, we want this. We're gonna take that. Ugh. See, this is what I was saying about the dialogue. Get me out of here. No. Yeah, we're done here. Okay, cool. And we get to move on to Wily stage, maybe? But that's where I'll leave off. Thank you all for watching. This is Xeno, signing off. Until next time.